Hey everyone, welcome to 996 The Howl for the uninitiated. This is an unedited YouTube vlog discussing everything Arizona Coyotes. What a Gongshow. What a bona fide Gongshow last night that we're all treated to. Started off horrific. Rick Tocchet even said in the post-game interview that was god-awful. No player was playing correctly or was playing good hockey, and that was true. The Coyotes came out in this first period flat as they can be. Turnovers, defensive mistakes, so many penalties. It was a recipe for disaster. Frustration levels were high. Kemper fighting people. A huge scrum after that second goal with Max Jones. It was just a debacle. I think all the fans really felt frustrated too. I feel like all the Coyote players just didn't like how this game was going, and they couldn't right the ship at all. After that 2-goal lead, John Hayden gets into a fight, and then shortly after, Lawson Crouse gets into a fight. You wouldn't see fighting, especially two fights, in one period by the Coyotes, I think, ever. Probably in the Dave Tippett days, but definitely not in the Rick Tocchet days. It was great to see Crouse and Hayden letting out their frustration with a couple fights, get the bench riled up, just generate some momentum, some morale boost. And they come out in the second period again on the penalty kill. I mean, they were penalty killing pretty much like for the first half of this game. It was really ridiculous how many penalties the Coyotes were taking, their fault and not their fault, which have you. But the Anaheim Ducks make it a 3-0 lead at that point. Even in a Discord server on the game thread, the fans knew that this would just be like another Colorado Avalanche game back in August when they lost 7-1. There was no positives at all. Coyotes were looking really bad. It seems like everything just led up to this point. Talking about the last two games against the LA Kings, just Coyotes had nothing going for them. It looked bad. Everyone was kind of like really pissed about how the team was handling this game, and then they get onto another penalty and they get a shorthanded goal by Christian Dvorak on a beautiful penalty shot, and from there it just turned and the Coyotes score another one really quickly with Derek Brassard from Garland and Kessel. And after that second period, Rick Tocchet immediately dismantles the short leash line, putting Drake Caggiula up top with Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller, and then Garland with Brassard and Kessel. It worked because Garland gets a primary assist on Derek Brassard's goal. He scores in back-to-back games for the first time for Arizona. And then Jacob Chychrun scores on his butt, sliding into the goalie, and just like that, it was 3-3. I mean, no one was thinking they could score 4 goals on Gibson. And Gibson early was looking like his elite self. He robbed Johan Larsson on a great chance, and he robbed Nick Schmaltz on another chance early in the second. But after that, the Brassard goal, you can see after Brassard scored, he was like taunting Gibson, and then with Chychrun's goal, it was 3-3, and then they make it 4-3. Dvorak with his second of the game. And the Coyotes come out with 2 points in which they deserve not to get the 2 points. It's great that they had the resilience to come back in that game, but I feel it was more like the Ducks just collapsed hard. And we've seen that before. These 3 games against Anaheim all started out kind of the same way. They score an unassisted goal by a turnover from the Coyotes in their defensive zone. They go up 1-0, and then the Ducks just stop after the first period. Well, in this game, the Ducks stopped playing after their third goal by Cam Fowler, and the Coyotes could just play their game and play hockey and pushed it to them, pushed the game along, and got 4 unanswered goals and won the game. So the Coyotes need to rectify some things. They can't be playing this type of hockey. It's 3 games straight against the 2 against LA and this game against Anaheim. LA has won 5 games in a row, so it's not looking too bad that the Coyotes lost back-to-back games. They at least pushed one to a shootout, so that's good. So the Kings are on fire. They won against the Sharks, Minnesota, 2 against Coyotes. They shut out the Blues last night, so maybe they are a pretty good team. Maybe we took them for granted, but the Coyotes didn't play good against the LA Kings, and they haven't been playing good since the end of the series against the Blues. So they need to get their intensity back up, Nobody's really injured. They sent Barrett Hayden down to Tucson to light it up and play top minutes and work on his defensive game, because he was making a couple defensive mistakes when the last time he played against the Blues. So they have the players, they have the roster, they gotta fix whatever they need to fix, because they can't be playing like this. They're playing really average. They're still in the mix for the playoffs, luckily. A couple teams, are playing good, playing bad. Minnesota's playing good again. St. Louis is struggling after their series with the Coyotes. LA's on fire. So they got to still get these wins and pick up points. They got one more against Anaheim, which is a must-win, because they have a back-to-back against the Avalanche Friday and Saturday. And you have to split those games, because it's more likely they'll lose both of those games in regulation. The Avalanche coming off a disappointing loss against Vegas last night. They got shut out, I believe, 3-0 as well. So you're not going to expect back-to-back wins against the Avalanche. So get your win now against Anaheim. Ranta's injured, so maybe Aiden Hell will be in net Wednesday night. But this team needs to realize that they're not playing good hockey, need to play better. They got lucky with those 2 points. It's great to see Dvorak back on the score sheet with 2 goals, because he's been quiet since about they played in St. Louis. He hasn't scored, I believe. He's up to 9 goals now, which is 3rd in the division, so that's great for Dvorak. Great to see Brassard and Kessel kind of have some mojo. Kessel scored back-to-back games in the LA series. Now Brassard has scored in back-to-back games, so they got some jump, some secondary scoring, which is much needed. We'll see if Tocchet keeps that short leash line separated. I feel like whatever line Garland is on, he's going to make something happen. If you have to pair him with Kessel and Brassard, good, that's fine. I'm not really sure I like Kajula on the top line, but there's no one really else other than Krause and Pitlick. But I like Krause, Pitlick, and Dvorak's line. Even though they don't score a lot of goals, they play good hockey, they play the right way. The fourth line is doing fourth line things, so they gotta get back to the way they played against the Blues. That 7-game series was great Coyotes hockey, exceptional hockey, you could say. These past 3 games against the California teams were miserable, depressing at points. It was pretty unbelievable that the Coyotes managed to pull this off. It hasn't happened since 2006 against the Toronto Maple Leafs, which is funny because the Leafs are always blowing 3-goal games, it seems. So it's been 15 years since the Coyotes were able to do this, so they got lucky, fixed whatever they need to fix. Ekman Larsson's looking a bit pedestrian in the defensive zone. I don't think he's at 100% in his defensive zone. Demers is continuing to get scratched. I don't think Lyubushkin had a good game last night against the Ducks, so maybe Demers gets thrown in. But the defensive coverage was just abysmal in that first period. They corrected it, but even against the Kings, they were letting some grade A opportunities in on Kemper, who has looked pedestrian as well. So I just feel like they're not even reaching their potential. They're playing down to their potential, and they just need to fix what's going on. A players meeting. The 2 fights were great. Yelling at the bench. Rick Tocchet was fuming this whole game, either at the refs or at his players. He looked very frustrated and angry. Even in the post-game interview, he wasn't sweetening his words at all. So I hope Rick Tocchet knows that this team needs to stop learning and just start playing good, mature hockey night in and night out. Get some consistency. This group is capable of good hockey, and he needs to get to these players. Players need to not feel down for themselves, and it's great that they managed to get the W. It felt like another Avalanche game. It felt like an older Coyotes team would have just folded and called it a night after going down 3-0. But I'm very impressed that the Coyotes battled back. A couple of fights, which we rarely see in the Tocchet year. So now this team wants to fight. That's how you get morale. That's how you get the bench boosted, get your teammates talking and riled up. And it led to 4 unanswered goals. It was great to see. Hopefully we don't see that type of game again for a very long time, no matter how entertaining it was. It wasn't Coyotes hockey at all, and they got to get back to it. So they got the Ducks again Wednesday. It was pretty chippy, a very chippy, scrummy game. The 2 fights, Kemper getting into it, a lot of people taking liberties on Garland. Not sure why those aren't penalties. He's been taking a beating from this LA series. and now the Ducks. So if they want to, Coyotes make a statement, you can't touch Garland, they got to start making it. Because it seems like around the division, teams are taking advantage of Garland and no one's really standing up to him. But you can't fight all the time, so maybe just if you see someone take a liberty at Garland, the next shift, try to push him into the boards a little bit harder. But they got to get this W against the Ducks, and then they got a huge back-to-back against the Avalanche, which is going to be hard hockey games. So hopefully they're up to the task, and hopefully they go streaking. They got one win, make it 2-3, and that's going to propel you into the standings and create some good cushion amongst the bottom teams in the division. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support.